Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? This is Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima. My name is Brenda, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time using the pro sign break and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me, and stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on 146.88 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5 FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics: astronomy charts. Pictures and live audio-video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list. Remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. This net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. 1. General announcements. 2. Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. 3. National Space Society events. 4. Discussion topic of the evening. 5. What's up? 6. Space exploration and space history. 7. Constellation of the week. 8. Space launches of the week. 9. Recent astronomical discoveries. 10. Visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. 11. Astronomical Q&A and 1273 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. So let's start with low power and short time check-ins. Please come now with your call sign, name, and please come now with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from this evening.
This is Whiskey 5 Golf Uniform Sierra, Gus, far northeast Dallas, low power 5 watts.
Okay, we have W5GUS, Gus. Welcome to the net, Gus. Next, we'll take general check-ins. Please come now.
This is Kilo 5, Kilo Tango X-Ray, Kelly in Quinlan.
Kilo Golf 5 Bravo Zulu Whiskey J. Near Westford.
Kilo Foxtrot 5 Zulu Bravo Lima, Bill Farmers Bridge.
QS
Echo 5, India, Charlie X-ray, Tom, Louisville.
This is Alpha Alpha 5 Alpha Hotel Robert Richardson.
All right, let's pick those up. We got K5KTX, Kelly, KG5 BZWJ, KF5ZBL, Bill, KE5ICX, Tom, and AA5AH, Robert. Let's do some Echolink check-ins. Please come now.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Juliet Hotel Alpha, Chaz, Planet Earth, North America, United States of America, Texas, Dallas County, Mesquite, Texas.
Okay, we have KF5 JHA Chaz, somewhere in the Milky Way. Let's take any check-ins by any mode at all. Go ahead.
Good evening, this is Alpha Golf 9 Sierra Golf, Antonio in Oak Cliff.
This is November 5, Oscar Foxtrot, Clay of Mesquite.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony in East Dallas.
Juliet, Delta Whiskey, John in Norman, Oklahoma, and I guess I'm Chaz's neighbor. I'm in the Orion arm of the Milky Way galaxy. K5JZ. Quebec Victor.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo, Bill and Irving, if you're taking check-ins.
Yes, we are. I'm going to need a couple of fills. Antonio, I completely missed your call. Would you repeat it, please?
Sure, no problem. This is Alpha Golf 9er Sierra Golf, AG9SG, Antonio here in Oak Cliff.
I copy Alpha Delta 9 Alpha Delta. Is that correct?
Oh, no, negative is Alpha Golf 9er Sierra Golf. Alpha Golf 9er Sierra Golf.
Alpha Golf 9er 0 Golf. Is that correct?
Almost. Instead of the 0, it's a Sierra. Sierra as in S, instead of the 0.
I'm sorry, it's what instead of 0?
Okay, instead of the 0, it's a Sierra. The letter S, Sierra, as in Sierra.
Okay, copy. Alpha Golf 9er Sierra Golf.
Affirmative, that is correct. AG9SG.
Thank you. Okay, then we have NT5TM Tony, and K5JDW John, and the next one I didn't catch any of either call or name, so if you know you were after John, would you please come back with your call sign and name?
November 5, Bravo, Bravo, Bill in Irving.
Okay, November 5, Bravo, Bravo, Bill. But the one before you is the one that I'm totally missing, the one between John and you. If you're out there and can hear me, please come back with your information.
It might have been me, November Clay, November 5, Oscar Foxtrot, Mesquite.
Okay, in November 5, Oscar Foxtrot. I think I skipped you on the way through here. The other mystery call sign, just jump in whenever you can. I apologize. Okay, any more check-ins? Okay, well, let's get started. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest to licensed ham.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike. Go ahead, Tony.
Thank you, Brenda. This is always an excellent net, but it's important to remember that it is not the last net of the evening. Tonight at 10:30ish, we'll be discussing Escape from the Planet of the Apes, which I haven't actually watched yet, although I've heard it's pretty good. I may just have to listen and watch it later. We also do have a lecture and lab coming up in the Dallas Amateur Radio Club 1 week from today. We're going to experiment and have an in-person lecture and lab at the Dallas Medical Center. There are more details at w5fc.org, but the short version of the information is that it's $20, first come, first served. We're going to be building a weather widget. This is a little touchscreen device that connects to the internet and downloads local weather information. So a fun kit build, and it's in person, and the details are at w5fc.org. It starts at 10 in the morning a week from today. NT5TM.
Thank you. Do we have any more announcements?
November 5, Bravo, Bravo.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo. Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you, Brenda. 2 weeks from today, we have the Irving Ham Fest, our first Ham Fest after COVID started. Our last Ham Fest was 2 years ago, and it was just the week before the COVID shutdowns. So the Irving Ham Fest will be 2 weeks from today, Saturday, March the 5th, 8 a.m. till about 2 p.m. at the Bingo Hall in Irving. You go to Highway 183 at Story Road, go south a little over a mile, go through the Big Wide Interchange at Irving Boulevard, and there's the Bingo Hall and their Ham Fest. Tailgating is not allowed by city rules in the parking lot, so you can't sell things out of your pickup truck or anything. But there are tables inside, so there are. You can sign up at irvingarc.org. You can buy tickets, you can buy raffle tickets, and you can buy tables if there's any still available. So come on over, and you can see the prizes also at irvingarc.org. You can see all the great prizes. There's the hourly and the grand prize that we're giving out. That's all I got in 5BB. Thank you.
All right, thank you. other announcements, we have the AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 2 nets available to Dallas residents. On Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central, you will need Echolink installed and be registered. You can find the net under Groups and AMSAT. Also, a live audio link is available on their website, which is www.amsatnet.com. This net originates in Houston. Dallas AMSAT Net East, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on this repeater, 146.88 megahertz PL 110.9 megahertz Tuesdays. Tom N5HYP is the net control. All are welcome to check in. First Tuesday of the month is DARC Club Night. No AMSAT East that night. Dallas AMSAT Net West is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater, 147.140 megahertz. PL 110.9 megahertz positive offset. So the DARC has these hosted nets. On Mondays, the first week is Ham Fixins. Second week, MCOM 101. Third week, Ham Fixins. Fourth week, Geek Net. Fifth week, Surprise Net. If we told you what it was, it wouldn't be a surprise. On-air participation is encouraged. Tuesdays, AMSAT East, 8 p.m. Fridays, Cert City Simulation, 8 p.m. Learn about emergency radio communications via CERT-trained amateur radio operators. Melissa, KI5GRH, is usually the net control. Visit the most disaster-prone city in the universe every Friday, CERT City. All are welcome. Saturdays, TechNet 7 to 8, and of course, Skynet. First and third Sundays, Dallas Amateur Radio Club meeting on the air, or MODA. Daily, there's the ARRL net, National Traffic System Training net, every night at 6:30 p.m. Central. All are welcome to check in on any or all of these nets. So, tonight's Afterglow, Tom, you didn't put a synopsis in the script at this point. Do you have one you can read to us? KE5ICX?
Yeah, I do, Brenda. I can go ahead and do that. Everybody listen, this is a very, very accurate representation of the film that you might miss, unless you've already seen it. The monkey doctors argued with the human doctors. Dr. Cornelius, Dr. Zira, and Dr. Milo argued with Dr. Dixon, Dr. Branton, and Dr. Hesline. The president seemed confused and made his decision. Beam them all down to the third planet. The armada of doctors seemed confused as they furrowed their hands and or paws into the large pockets in their white coats. What did he mean by that? It didn't matter. It seemed everyone was confused after the 3 Dr. Apes popped out of the spaceships and started barking orders to their human counterparts. Bill Bonds, a Detroit newscaster who had been sent on a one-way ticket to L.A. to cover the Monkey-Human Doctors Convention, seemed confused as well. He interviewed the monkey doctors. So do you cough up fur balls when you're making exciting medical discoveries? They just shook their heads. This guy had no clue what was going on. So join us for the third and critically acclaimed movie, believe it or not, in the POTA series, or Planet of the Apes. POTA is, if you're in the in crowd, it's called POTA. Escape from the Planet of the Apes. I think from, well, I put down 73. I think it's 1971, but it takes place in the future of 1973. That's tonight at 10:30 p.m. Back to you, Brenda, KE5I6.
Thank you, Tom. That synopsis was amazingly accurate considering what we usually have. All right, next, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events. I'm going to call on Chaz, KF5JHA, to tell us what's going on there.
Why, thank you, Brenda. Just to let everyone know, Cert City last night was talking about strokes. What a disaster. If you don't sign in on Friday nights, you're missing an awful lot. I just happened to be in my car and got to sign in for a few minutes and listen in on a little bit of the activity. So it's a fun thing to do. Okay, to the next topic. The next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting will be held on 6 days from now, Friday, February the 25th at 7:30 p.m. The meeting will be held on Zoom. Tyler Nordgren from the National Park Service will be featured speaker, and his topic is, and this is in quotation marks, Stars Above, Earth Below, Night Skies, and Solar Eclipses in America's Parks, end of quote. Task Club members will receive an email link to the Zoom meeting in advance of the meeting. In fact, I think it's already gone out, if I remember right. I think I saw it in my inbox. And Saturday night public observing sessions have been placed on hold for almost 2 years because of COVID. Now, one of the reasons why Skynet was picked to be on Saturday nights was so that there was an opportunity for live reports from the test public observing sessions that are also held on Saturday nights. And tonight would have been a great one because the last time I looked, it was clear outside. But check for the TASS website, texasastro.org, for up-to-date information and details about meetings and public observing sessions. Even how to pick out a pair of binoculars or a telescope. You can find that information on their website as well. All right, that's all I have, Brenda. This is KF5 JHA, back to our net control.
Thank you, Chaz. Next, National Space Society events and activities. Bill, N5BB, would you give us some news? N5BB, are you there? Okay, well, we'll come back to that. Do we have any more check-ins now? Please come now with your name, call sign, and your location.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, India Victor Juliet, Mobile, Justin, Rev.
Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe in Arlington.
We'll come back to this. And after Justin was I didn't catch any of that call sign or name. If that was you, would you please give us fill us in?
Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe in Arlington.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Kilo Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe. Welcome to the net. All right. Let's move on to our discussion topic of the evening. And this is WB5OZL. What is the maximum number of planets that could orbit the Sun? Solar system contains 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, all of which circle the sun due to its intense gravitational pull. But is this the maximum number of planets that can orbit the sun, or is there room for more? Compared with other known planetary systems, the solar system contains an unusually high number of planets. In total, there are 812 known planetary systems with 3 or more confirmed planets, and only one other known system, Kepler 90, that contains as many planets as our solar system, according to the Extrasolar Planets Encyclopedia. There's a good chance that a lot of these systems have small inner planets that we cannot detect, so it's unlikely that the solar system is actually the most populated planetary system in our cosmic neighborhood, but it highlights that 8 exoplanets may be near the upper limit of how large a planetary system can naturally grow. Therefore, to work out the absolute maximum capacity of planets orbiting the sun, we need to move into the realm of the theoretical, ignoring some of the natural factors that may limit how many planets can form. One of the best ways to do that is to design or engineer a brand new solar system from scratch. Engineering a solar system. When you talk about how many planets could be in a planetary system, there are lots of different aspects you need to consider. Sean Raymond, an astronomer at the Bordeaux Astrophysics Laboratory in France, who specializes in planetary systems, told Live Science. The structure of a planetary system is the result of a number of complex factors, Raymond said, including the size of the star, the size of the planets, the type of planets, for instance, rocky planets or gas giants, the number of moons orbiting each planet, the location of large asteroids and comets, such as those in the asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars and in the Kuiper belt beyond Neptune, the direction of the planet's orbits, and the amount of material left over from the sun's formation to create the planets. It also takes hundreds of millions of years of intense collisions and gravitational tugs of war between planets for a system to settle into a stable configuration. However, if we were a super advanced civilization with technology and resources that far exceeded our current capabilities, it might be possible to get around a lot of these limitations and design a solar system packed with a maximum number of planets, Raymond said. In this theoretical engineered solar system, we could assume that there were no limit to the materials available to create planets and that they could be produced artificially and positioned at will. It would also be possible to remove moons, asteroids, comets, and other obstructions that might complicate things. The only limitations would be that the gravity that the planets of the sun and the sun exert would be the same as they normally would be, and the planets would have to orbit the sun in a stable configuration without interfering with each other. A planet is designed as a celestial body that is in orbit around the sun, has sufficient mass to achieve hydrostatic equilibrium, making it round in shape, and has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit from debris, the latter being the reason why Pluto is not considered a true planet, according to the International Astronomical Union. In an engineered solar system, the maximum number of planets is limited by the number of planetary orbits you can fit around the sun before they start to become unstable. When a planetary system becomes unstable, the orbits of planets start to cross each other, which means they might collide with each other or just gravitationally scatter, where planets slingshot around each other planets and get catapulted out of the system, Raymond said. The minimum safe distance between orbits of different planets in a stable system is dependent on each planet's size, or more accurately, its hill radius. A planet's hill radius is the distance between the planet and the edge of its sphere of influence, within which objects with a smaller mass would be affected by its gravity, such as the moon orbiting Earth. More massive planets exert a stronger gravitational force, which means they have a greater Hill radius, which is why the distance between the orbits of Earth and Mars, which is around 48.65 million miles, is around 7 times smaller than the distance between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, which is around 342.19 million miles, according to NASA. For this reason, the number of orbits that could fit inside the solar system depends predominantly on the size of the planets, Raymond said. For example, Jupiter is around 300 times more massive than Earth, which means that its Hill radius is around 10 times larger. This means that 10 separate Earth orbits could fit in the same space taken up by Jupiter's current orbit. Therefore, to maximize the number of planets in a system, you have to make all the planets as small as possible. Luckily, Raymond has already done this for us using computer simulations he created. They can be viewed in more detail on his blog, Planet. However, it is important to note that although these calculations are based on theories astronomers use to create legitimate simulations, these models are not peer-reviewed and should be regarded with a pinch of playful skepticism. To maximize the number of planets, Raymond's engineered system extends to 1,000 astronomical units from the Sun. Currently, the defined edge of the solar system, also known as the heliosphere, is around 100 AU from the Sun, according to the European Space Agency. But the Sun's gravitational influence can extend much farther. What's more, Raymond's model uses equally sized planets with alternating retrograde orbits. Taking all this into account, if you used Earth-sized planets, you could fit 57 orbits, each containing 42 planets, which gives a total of 2,394 planets. However, if you use smaller planets that are 1/10 the size of Earth, roughly the same mass as Mars, you could fit in 121 orbits, each containing 89 planets, which gives a total of 10,769 planets. And if the planets are around the size of the Moon, 1/100th the mass of the Earth, you could have 341 orbits, each containing 192 planets, which gives a total of 65,813 planets. Okay, any more check-ins? Okay, N5BB, you weren't there when I called on you a minute ago. If you're here, you can give us a report on the National Space Society.
Thank you, Brenda. This is N5BB. Can you hear me now?
I can, loud and clear.
Somehow I accidentally hit something that caused the radio to switch bands. I apologize. This is N5BB. I am the membership director of the North Texas chapter of the National Space Society. Our meetings are normally the second Sunday afternoon of every month. The meeting this last Sunday, unfortunately, due to some technical problems with somebody's computer mainly, we were unable to have the presentation last Sunday. So we just discussed various things, especially SpaceX. So we had a good discussion, though. Our next meeting is going to be Sunday, March the 13th, and we plan for it to be in person. This is Sunday afternoon, March the 13th, starting at 3:30, with the presentation starting at 4 p.m. at Spring Creek Barbecue in Irving. A break. That's on Highway 183 at Beltline, directly across the highway from Irving Mall. Again, that will be on Sunday, March the 13th, in-person meeting. We have very few events right now because a lot of our places we normally go haven't quite opened up yet. but we are going to have our we are going to have. Well, excuse me. We did participate in the Dallas Regional Science and Engineering Fair. The Science Fair was at Fair Park in Dallas today. It was very weird. They spread the tables for the judges out, and the students were brought in, a few of them, to see the judges. It was backwards in the normal way. That was to limit big crowds because of COVID. Anyway, I was one of the judges, and me and another judge were there. Our third judge, unfortunately, had a medical problem and was in the hospital, so could not be there. At the next table over, we saw some hams, which is normal. There's some hams group that up northeast side of Dallas that does a lot of prizes for the science fair. So we saw Billy Cheek, K85PDS, and Bob Vance, and K5CRX there, and some other hams there at the next table over. Anyway, we had three really good student projects that we interviewed the kids, and it was real fun. The winner will be announced here sometime in the next few weeks by the science fair. I think that's everything I have for now. This is N5BB. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Bill. Next up, Chaz, KF5JHA with What's Up. Take it, Chaz.
Thank you, Brenda. Good evening, everyone. This is Chaz, KF5JHA. My degree's in astrophysics. I'm in charge of the astrophysics lab and the geology labs at Dallas College on the Brookhaven campus. We call this segment of Skynet What Is Up? Slide Master, slide number 2. What I'm talking about when I'm talking about slides, that happens to be on the video portion. If you haven't gone there, you should do that. There's links on w5fc.org website to get to those video links. You can also search on YouTube and find DARC Skynet, and that'll get you one of the video links too. All right, slide number 2. Tonight, the sunset was around 6:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is later than it was just a week ago. This time of year, the sunset time will vary by about a minute per day. Last Saturday, the sunset was at 6:09 p.m. Central Standard Time. During the winter solstice, around December 21st, here in Dallas, we only have about 10 hours of sunlight. At the summer solstice, around June 21st, we have about 14 hours of daylight here in the Dallas area. That is a change of 4 hours of daylight per day. That variation in number of hours of daylight from winter to summer depends on where you are on the surface of the Earth. At the equator, people experience 12 hours of daylight every day. In fact, the sun rises and sets just about the same time every day throughout the year for those living at the equator. Slide number 3, please. But for those scientists that are living at the South Pole, they won't have any nighttime on February the 19th. Yes, they don't have any nighttime tonight. Well, can they call it tonight? Nor will they have any night tomorrow, nor time any night this month. The sun will set around March 21st or 22nd and won't arise again until September 21st, 22nd for them. They have 6 months of daylight and then 6 months of darkness. They only have 1 day per year. Isn't that strange? Slide Master, slide number 4, please. The full moon phase was on February the 16th, just a couple of days ago. So the current phase of the moon is a waning gibbous. On February the 23rd, the moon will be at its third quarter phase. On February the 26th, the moon is at Apogee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth at a distance of 367,789 kilometers. The new moon phase will be on March the 2nd. The moon will be at its first quarter phase on March the 10th. Also on March the 10th, the moon will be at Apogee, which is a point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth at a distance of 404,268 kilometers. Slide number 5, please. The conjunction on February the 27th will be with the moon and Mars and with Venus close by, all in the low southeastern early morning sky. Now, slide number 6, the very next morning on February the 28th, the moon will be in conjunction with Mercury and Saturn close to them in the southeastern early morning sky. It'll be kind of interesting. Slide number 7, on March the 2nd is the next conjunction, which will be of Saturn and Mercury in the early morning southeastern sky. They'll be less than a degree apart, about 3/4 of a degree apart. Now, this will be difficult to see. You'll probably need binoculars because there'll be strong twilight. Slide number 8, please. So, for the last few weeks, I've talked about the second brightest star in the sky, Canopus. So, have you gone out and looked for it? I'm not sure if the weather's been cooperative for all the week long, but it has been the last couple of nights. So try to go out over the next couple of evenings. It looks like maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday could be a problem with weather, but see if you can go out. You might even be able to still go out tonight, but try it tomorrow night. See if you can find Canopus. Remember, it's just very low in the south, just underneath Sirius, really low in the sky. It's only about 4 degrees high in the sky, right around the beginning of Skynet. I might remind you again over the next week or two about looking for Canopus low in the south. And this is KF5 JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 9, please. Once again, the next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting will be held on Friday, February the 25th, 7:30 p.m. That's 6 days from now. The meeting will be held on Zoom. Tyler Nordgren from the National Park Service will be the featured speaker. If you want to find out more information about that, go to texasastro.org for up-to-date information. Now, slide number 10. Do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need a fill on anything that I've talked about? Or maybe you just have a general astronomy question. I don't know everything, but I may know the answer to your question, or someone else on the net might know the answer to your question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question. JJ is on Echolink, and he says, me, see above, so I'm seeing above. He says, why are the days longer in the summer up north, Illinois, for example? Actually, I grew up in Ohio, than they are here in Dallas. That's a very good question. It has to do with the latitude and the tilt of the Earth's axis of rotation. I'll give you a better example. I lived in Seattle for 5 years. In Seattle, in December the 21st, anytime in December or the first part of January, I went to work in the morning. It was completely dark. No, I wasn't getting there early. I was getting there about 9 o'clock, and it was still dark. It didn't get light till about 10:30. And it started getting dark about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was dark when I left. Really? Only a few hours of daylight? Yes. Now, in the summertime, in contrast, at the end of June, the sun set, but it didn't really get dark till after 11 p.m., probably about 11:30. And then about 1:30 in the morning, it started getting twilight again. So we only had maybe an hour and a half of astronomical darkness. Wow. So it depends on your latitude. The further north you go, the longer your sunshine is in the summertime and the longer the nighttime is in the wintertime. But on the equator, it's 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of darkness the entire year. Did that help you out, JJ? Oh, well, he says thank you already on Echolink. That's great. All right. So, Slide Master, slide number 11. As the moon waned at the end of January, so do these words for this segment of Skynet. Stay safe, keep well, pray for our world. It's the only one where humans live. Until next week. Actually, I'll be doing another Skynet segment in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is Chaz, KF5, JHA, back to our net control. Brenda, it's all back to you.
Thank you, Chaz. Do we have any more check-ins now?
This is Whiskey Bravo number 4, Mike Foxtrot India WB4MFI, Ted Dallas Low Power.
Okay, we picked up Whiskey Bravo 4, Mike Foxtrot India, Ted. Welcome to the net. All right, next up is space exploration and space history. So in our news, what first article talks about space-flavored Coca-Cola. Maybe you saw a news item this week. Coca-Cola is returning to space in a new and different way. The iconic soft drink, which was one of the first carbonated beverages to be tested by astronauts in orbit, is now attempting to bring the taste of space down to Earth as a first-of-its-kind limited edition Coca-Cola Starlight, as revealed on Thursday, February 17th. It combines great Coca-Cola taste with a dash of the unexpected, including a reddish hue, the company said in the release. Its taste includes additional notes reminiscent of stargazing around a campfire, as well as a cooling sensation that evokes the feeling of a cold journey to space. And I will put in a parenthetical comment here. If they think you can stargaze around a campfire, it's because they've never did it. Put the fire out if you want to look at the stars. Set to land on store shelves across the United States beginning on Monday, February 21st, with select countries to follow in the following months. Coca-Cola Starlight highlights the brand's history in space. 35 years ago, Coca-Cola partnered with NASA to become one of the first soft drinks to travel to space. That same passion for space still exists today, says Alana Vlad, Senior Director for Global Brand Strategy at the Coca-Cola Company. With Coca-Cola Starlight, we wanted to celebrate the remarkable ability of space exploration to inspire generations to discover new worlds of infinite possibilities. We're not sure what... that article's over. This is me. We are not sure what space tastes like, if anything. But astronauts have described the smell variously as, and this is a partial list, roast meat, raspberries, rum, welding fumes, and a NASCAR race. Perseverance. Has it been a year already? It has. It's celebrating its 1-year anniversary on Mars. Some of its achievements include collected rock sample, first rock cores from another planet, served as a base station for the Mars helicopter, extracted oxygen from thin Martian air, and set driving records. Astronaut birthdays. Roger Chaffee, February 15th, 1935. Selected for Apollo 1, but of course died in the Apollo 1 fire. Leland D. Melvin, February 15th, 1964. He flew on STS-121 and STS-129. Theodore Freeman, born February 18th, 1930. He didn't fly any missions, and he died in a T-38 crash before he was able to go to space. Joseph P. Kerwin, February 19th, 1932. Flew on Skylab 2. Donald E. Williams, February 13th, 1942. STS-51D, STS-34. G. David Lowe, February 19th, 1956. STS-32, STS-43, and STS-57. And Byron Lichtenberg, February 19th, 1948. STS-9 and STS-45. And lastly, Stephen Bowen, February 13th, 1964. STS-126, STS-132, STS-133, and SpaceX Crew 6. Space history. February 18th, 1977. The prototype Space Shuttle Orbiter Enterprise, OV-101, made its first captive flight aboard NASA 905, the Boeing 747-123 shuttle carrier aircraft. On this flight, no one was aboard Enterprise. NASA 905 was flown by Aircraft Commander Fitzhugh Fulton, Jr., pilot Thomas C. McMurdy, and flight engineers Louis Guidry and Victor Horton. The duration of the first captive flight was 2 hours, 5 minutes. The Enterprise SCA combination reached a maximum speed of 287 miles per hour and an altitude of 16,000 feet. And lastly, on February 18th, 1930, Clyde Tombaugh discovered our ninth planet, Pluto. It has since been demoted to a dwarf planet. In 2015, the New Horizons space probe flew through the Pluto system, giving us spectacular images. And for me, these are some of the best planet images ever. Pluto is a fascinating planet, whatever it is, or will be, or was. Just spectacular pictures. All right, do we have any more check-ins? Okay, we back to Chaz, KF5JHA, with Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week.
Brenda, it almost feels like it's the Brenda and Chaz show tonight. I think we can probably fit somebody else in here. All right, Slide Masters, please present us with slide number 12. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent Key Carolyn, KC5OZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week, almost from its beginning in 2012 until May of 2019, with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Thus, there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen in Texas throughout the year out of the 88 total constellations. So Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky as seen over Texas in a year. In her honor, we have continued that tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week this week is Auriga, the Charioteer or the Shepherd. Auriga, the Charioteer, is a constellation known since ancient times. There are a number of stories and legends that's associated with it. One is when it was introduced as a four-horseman chariot to the Athens. Auriga has also been said to represent the ill-fated charioteer of King Onomas, I'm probably messing up his name, who ultimately died as a result of his involvement in a plot to betray the king. All right, the whole reason why you stay up this late to listen to Skynet is the slide that comes up next. Slide Master, slide number 13, please. Okay, I try to be impartial in chariot races, but I have to admit, I'm with her, H-U-R. Oh, come on, that was funny, wasn't it? Yeah, these are the jokes of the week, yeah. What did the chariot say after the parting of the Red Sea? I'm all washed up. What did the left chariot wheel say to the right chariot wheel? Oh, I'm sure JJ probably has this one. Come on, you can do this, JJ. I'm waiting on Echolink to see what he comes up with. I'll see you around. Okay, and I've only got 4 this week, so here we go. What do you call the chariot's pony when it coughs? It's just a little horse. Okay, slide number 14. Oh, yeah, JJ got that one. All right. Slide number 14. Capella Alpha Auriga, which means the she-goat or the little she-goat, is the brightest star in Auriga. Auriga is usually depicted as the mother goat and her kids on the left shoulder and arm, with Capella representing the goat. And the nearby triangle of Epsilon, Eta, and Zeta represent the kids. Capella is actually a multiple star system with 2 main components, Capella A and Capella B, being yellow G-type stars that are giants. One estimate has them at diameters of 7 and 13 times that of our Sun. They orbit each other at a distance of about 60 million miles, and they are therefore too close to each other to be split with even the largest telescopes here on the Earth. There are 2 more components of the Capellian system, 2 faint red dwarf stars that orbit each other. This pair of red dwarfs orbits the main pair at a distance of about 11,000 astronomical units. The entire Capellian star system lies 42.8 light years from the Earth. Theta Aurigae is a white A-type star that is about 166 light years away. It is known for its strong magnetic field and its overabundance of silicon, chromium, and iron. It is also a double star that is noted for being difficult to split, requiring good optics and a good night, steady atmosphere of seeing as well. The companion is a magnitude 7.2 G-type star that is near twin of our Sun, separated from the primary by only 4 arc seconds. That means it's pretty close. Oh, and this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 15. Oh, Bob, the cat's outside. He's meowing. Although he's not trying to get on the keyboard, that's a good thing. M36 in Auriga is known as an open cluster. In fact, 36, 37, and 38 are open clusters. We'll talk about all of those in a few minutes. But M36 is the first of these that I'll be examining. In Deep Sky Wonders, Walter Scott Houston wrote that the cluster has about 60 stars. It looks sparse in companion M37. Stephen James Amira, in his book Messier Objects, writes that the brighter members of the cluster shine about 9th to 11th magnitude, in front of the hazy background caused by the feeble light of dozens of 13th and 14th magnitude stars. A number of observers note a cross shape formed in the central stars of the cluster. John Malice, in the book The Messier Album, notes that the outward streamers of the faint stars give a crab-like appearance. Wow, crab-like appearance. Slide number 16. M37, one of the 3 Messier open clusters in Auriga. Most agree that M37 is the most striking, in other words, the brightest and easiest seen. Walter Scott Houston said that it is was the prettiest of the 3. Burnham wrote that it was usually considered to be the finest of the 3 Messier open clusters in Auriga. O'Meara wrote that telescopically, M37 is much more wonderful insight than either M37, either than M36 or 38. John Mallis described it as one of the finest open clusters in the heavens. M37 is a richer cluster than M36, having about 150 stars, more than twice that of M36. Including all of the fainter stars, and the total stellar population of M37 may be more than 500 stars, not just 150, but more than 500 if you look at all the fainter ones. Also, unlike M36, which contains mostly blue-white stars, M37 has white stars and even some red giants. A number of different authors have noted the 9th magnitude red star that, as Burnham wrote, stands out near the cluster center like a ruby in a field of diamonds. Slide Master, slide number 17. M38, in terms of stellar density, M38 falls between M36 and M37, has about 100 to 120 stars greater than M36's 60 stars, but well short of M37's estimated 500 stars. Like M36, a number of observers over the years have noticed a cross shape formed in the central stars of this cluster as well. T.W. Webb, Houston, James O'Meara, Burnham note that although Burnham was quoting Webb, John Mannis did not notice it when he was using his now classic 4-inch Unitron refractor while observing it for the book of the Messier album. So all three open clusters look very similar in binoculars or in a finder scope. M36, M37, and M38 are all quite different in appearance in a telescope. And this is KF5, JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 18. Here are a few more Astronomical League observing program objects in the constellation of Auriga, the Charioteer or the Shepherd. I've just given you a sampling of some of those objects. The Astronomical League has over 70 different observing programs, which most have around 100 objects. So if you observe just 10 different objects in an observing program each month, then you can earn an observing certificate and a pen in about a year. And slide number 19, that is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, Auriga, the Charioteer, or the Shepherd. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for their research and words on the deep sky objects that I use, borrow, and I steal from them for every night. I also at times use the website constellation-guide.com for information. And the next time I'm going to take a look at a doggone good constellation, Canis Major, the big dog. And this is KF5, JHA. So I'm going to get back to our net control. I'm going to say 73 to all of you.
Okay, thank you, Chaz. And this is WB50ZL. And do we have any new check-ins? Okay, next, space launches for this week. I call on Tom, KE5ICX, to provide us with that information.
All right, thank you, Miss Brenda. Well, there aren't going to be a lot this week. We had a bunch of them the past week, and the week before that. So we'll go over the next couple of weeks then. In late February, we have a Falcon 9 launch, another Starlink bunch of satellites that'll go up, a batch of the Starlink Internet satellites. That'll be from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, SLC-4E. February 27th will be an Electron launch. This is from New Zealand on the Mahai Peninsula for Launch Complex 1A. A Rocket Lab Electron rocket will launch the STRIEX Beta synthetic aperture radar satellite for Synspective, a Japanese Earth imaging company. This developing spacecraft for planned constellation of more than 30 small radar observation satellites to collect data, collate data for the metropolitan areas across Asia on a daily basis, and can be used for urban development planning and construction, infrastructure monitoring, and disaster response.
March 1st will be a launch of an Atlas V from Launch Complex 41 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Base in Florida. United Alliance Atlas V rocket will launch GOES-T, the third next-generation geostationary weather satellite for NASA and NOAA, NOAA. GOES-T will orbit 22,300 miles above the equator and monitor weather conditions across the United States. The rocket will fly in the 541 vehicle configuration with 5-meter fairing, 4 solid rocket boosters, and a single-engine Centaur upper stage. In early March, we have a Falcon 9 Starlink launch, this time from Launch Complex 39A from Kennedy Space Center. It'll be another batch of Starlink Internet satellites. On March 5th, there'll be a Soyuz launch from Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. The Russian Soyuz rocket, marketed by Arianespace, will launch 36 satellites into orbit for OneWeb, which is developing a constellation of hundreds of satellites in low Earth orbit for low-latency broadband communications. It'll launch in the Soyuz 2.1B rocket we'll use, everybody say it together, the Fregat upper stage. Also in March will be Black Sky 16 and 17. This is from Launch Complex 1A from Naya Peninsula in New Zealand. The Rocket Lab Electron rocket will launch 2 small second-generation satellites for Black Sky's commercial fleet of Earth observation spacecraft. Rocket Lab has nicknamed this mission without mission a beat. Apparently there's somebody who names these missions that remind me a lot of jazz. Without mission a beat. To be determined, there'll be the SLV demonstration launch. This is from Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, India. This is a small satellite launch. That's what SSLV stands for. Will launch its first orbital test flight, consisting of 3 solid-fueled stages and a liquid-fueled upper stage. SSLV is a new Indian launch vehicle designed to carry small satellites into low Earth orbit. There'll be a second one, SSLV again, from the same Space Center. It'll launch its first commercial mission with 4 Earth observation satellites for Black Sky Global, Seattle-based company. The rideshare mission for Black Sky is being arranged by Spaceflight. That's the name of the company, believe it or not. And that's it from me, Miss Brenda. Back to you, KE5ICX.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, WB50ZL. Do we have any more check-ins? Okay, my article on recent astronomical societies won't load. Tom, if you could go on to the visible satellite passages. Give me a second, I'll go find it and pull it up. KE5ICX.
All right, will do, Miss Brenda. Yeah, I had the same problem trying to load it. 404 not found. Well, it's there. It's just lost temporarily. All right, coming up these are all local time. These are satellite passes over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have the International Space Station has a couple of passes. One on February 20th. It's minus 3.5 magnitude. Now this one is going to be in shade or in darkness, so it'll only show up in the latter part of its path. This one just after it reaches its highest point. So that would be the 20 minus 3.5 magnitude, 64 degrees northeast. Be at 527 at its highest point at 64 degrees and fall to the northeast at 530. There is Tiangong 1. Well, no, not 1. It's Tiangong. Actually, I think it's Tiangong 3, if you really want the truth. That is the Chinese space station. There's 3 tachynauts up there currently, so it is being inhabited. There is one pass on February, let's see 23rd, 1.2 magnitude at 5:55 a.m. It'll be out of the southwest. It reaches highest point at 70 degrees at 5:57, and it will fall at 6 o'clock a.m. to the east-northeast. Second pass on February 25th has a, again, this one comes out of shade, or out of shadow, I should say, at 5:32, 59 degrees, 5:32 is the highest point, and it falls at 5:35 to the east-northeast. Next up is the X-37. That's the winged spacecraft that is being run by the Air Force, or Space Force, I should say. February 23rd has a pass, 0.3 magnitude at 6:09 out of the west-southwest, reaches its highest point at 6:10 a.m. and then falls at 6:13. And then finally, Reliable. This is Envisat. This is the polar orbiting satellite. It has, let's give 3 passes. February 21st, Boone is 3.0 magnitude at 5:36 a.m. Reaches its highest point at 5:41 west-northwest and falls to the south. February 22nd, 3.4 magnitude at 4:59 a.m. Reaches its highest point at 62 degrees and falls to the east. And then let's see, February 27th, let me jump down there, 2.9 magnitude. That's at 5:13 a.m. It reaches highest point almost directly overhead at 5:18, and it will fall to the south-southwest at 5:23. All this information is available on the Heavens Above website. That's heavensabove.com. Just plug in your longitude and latitude. I should remember through cookies your location. I put in Louisville, my location. I think there's a way that it actually sends you to the site where you can plug in your address and it'll put in your longitude and latitude. But we're hams. We already know how to do that. So that's it from me. Miss Brenda, back to you. KE5I6.
Thank you very much. Okay, I found the article and pulled it up. It's entitled, How Galaxies Can Exist Without Dark Matter. In a new Nature Astronomy study, an international team led by astrophysicists from the University of California, Irvine, and Pomona College report how, when tiny galaxies collide with bigger ones, the bigger galaxies can strip the smaller galaxies of their dark matter that we can't see directly, but which astrophysicists think must exist because without its gravitational effects, they couldn't explain things like the motions of galaxies and stars. It's a mechanism that has the potential to explain how galaxies might be able to exist without dark matter, something once thought impossible. It started in 2018 when astrophysicists Shani Danieli and Pieter von Dokkum of Princeton University and Yale University observed 2 galaxies that seem to exist without most of their dark matter. We were expecting large fractions of dark matter, said Danieli, who is co-author of the latest study. It was quite surprising and a lot of luck, honestly. A lucky find in which Van Dokkum and Danieli reported on in a Nature paper in 2018 and in an Astrophysical Journal Letters paper in 2020, threw the galaxies need dark matter paradigm into turmoil, potentially upending what physicists had come to see as a standard model for how galaxies work. It's been established for the last 40 years that galaxies have dark matter, says Jorge Moreno, an astronomy professor at Pomona College, who's the lead author of the new paper. In particular, low-mass galaxies tend to have significantly higher dark matter fractions, making Danieli's finding quite surprising. For many of us, this meant that our current understanding of how dark matter helps galaxies grow need an urgent revision. The team ran computer models that simulated the evolution of a chunk of the universe, one about 60 million light years across, starting soon after the Big Bang and running all the way to the present. The team found 7 galaxies devoid of dark matter. After several collisions with neighboring galaxies 1,000 times more massive, they were stripped of most of their material, leaving behind nothing but stars and some residual dark matter. It was pure serendipity, said Moreno. The moment I made the first images, I shared them immediately with Daniele and invited her to collaborate. Robert Feldman, a professor at the University of Zurich, who designed the new simulation, said that this theoretical work shows that dark matter-deficient galaxies should be very common, especially in the vicinity of massive galaxies. UCI's James Bullock, an astrophysicist who's an expert on low-mass galaxies, described how he and the team didn't build their model just so they could create galaxies without dark matter, something he said makes the model stronger because it wasn't designed in any way to create the collisions that they eventually found. We don't presuppose the interactions, said Bullock, confirming that galaxies lacking dark matter can be explained in a universe where there's lots of dark matter is a sigh of relief for researchers like Bullock. His career and everything he's discovered therein hinges on dark matter being the thing that makes galaxies behave the way they do. The observation that there are dark matter-free galaxies has been a little bit worrying to me, said Bullock. We have a successful model developed over decades of hard work where most of the matter in the cosmos is dark. There's always a possibility that nature has been fooling us. But Moreno said you don't have to get rid of the standard dark matter paradigm. Now that astrophysicists know how a galaxy might lose its dark matter, Moreno and his collaborators hope the findings inspire researchers who look at the night sky to look for a real-world massive galaxies. They might be in the process of stripping dark matter away from smaller ones. It still doesn't mean this model is right, Bullock said. A real test will be to see if things exist with the frequency and general characteristics that match our predictions. As part of his new work, Moreno, who has indigenous roots, received permission from Cherokee leaders to name 7 dark matter-free galaxies found in their simulations in order of the 7 Cherokee clans: bird, blue, deer, longhair, paint, wild potato, and wolf. I feel a personal connection to these galaxies, said Moreno, who added that just as the more massive galaxies rob the smaller galaxies of their dark matter, many people of indigenous ancestry were stripped of our culture, but our core remains and we're still thriving. Funding for the work came from the National Science Foundation, sabbatical leave support from Moreno and from Pomona College, and the Harry and Grace Steele Foundation, and for Daniele from NASA through Hubble Fellowship, a Hubble Fellowship grant. Other collaborators include Francisco Mercado, Courtney Klein, and Zachary Hafen, all from UCI. All right. That's from ScienceDaily.com, and I read the whole article, so there's nothing missing. All right, we are almost out of time, but do we have any astronomical Q&A? This is WB50ZL. Do we have any more check-ins?
Whiskey 7, Kilo Yankee Golf.
filling it? Whiskey 7 Kilo Yankee, and then you dropped off. Can you fill in the rest?
Sorry, it's Golf. Whiskey 7 Kilo Yankee Golf.
And your name, please.
Calvin in Arlington.
All right. Whiskey 7 Kilo Yankee Golf, Calvin. All right. Well, guess we are done. Tonight we had 17 hams participating on the air. Thanks to all of you who checked in this evening. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration. On this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations for this and all other DARC nets. If you'd like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussions about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and Twitter, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. Until next Saturday night, this is Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brenda, and I'll be closing the net at 10:21 local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. 73, everybody, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. And we'll be having Afterglow very shortly, KE5ICX. Do you want to tell us about that?
We'll be back with the Afterglow Movie Net at 10:30, so come back in about 9 minutes. This is KE5ICX.
Thank you. This is WB50ZL Clear.
N5BB, N5BB from W5GUS.
W5GUS, N5BB. Just nearly turned the radio off, Gus, because I'm not going to participate in the Afterglow. How can I help you?
Well, I'm glad I caught you. I was just curious, the winning science fair project, what was it about?
Can't tell you that. I mean, there's a lot of winners. From our group, the National Space Society, we chose 3, number 1, number 2, and number 3. I can't actually tell you that result because it has not been confirmed by the science fair, and they want to be able to present that to the winners directly. So it's still a secret. Sorry.
Okay, well, just curious. I'm interested in what the subjects were. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit after it's revealed, maybe at the National Space Society. That'd be interesting. All right, good evening, Bill. W5GUS 73.
Oh, yes. I will be revealing that on Skynet and also at National Space Society meeting as soon as the information is public. Okay, 73, good night, and 5BB clear.
In via Echolink. Is there someone on?
Somebody was talking on Echolink. KQ580.
This is Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Quebec Victor. Wondering if I was making it through to the...
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Victor. I'm sorry, I didn't quite write your name, your call sign down as you were telling it, so I probably missed the letter. You're coming in, it's clear.
So much there. Name here is Christian. I was just along on the net. It sounded like where it was heard and confirmed in the chat. I just wanted to make sure I was getting through okay. Checking in next week, following along next week as well. So, and Brenda for hosting. Be clear.
Yeah, all right. Hope Brenda heard that, but this is kind of break time, so there's another net coming up if you're interested, where we discuss movies called the Afterglow movie net. You might want to stick around for that. Don't have to watch the film or anything. But anyway, even if you can't send yeah, you're mixed through, and nice talking to you, I guess. KQ580.
Normal state. TechNet Saturday at 7 p.m. W5FC.
I'm completely operational and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow Movie Net.
All right, everyone, this seems like as good a time to start as any. This is Kilo Echo 5 India Charlie X-Ray. Tom, I'll be your net control for tonight's Afterglow Movie Net. What's the Afterglow Movie Net, you ask? Well, it happens to be that we pick a movie once a week that we're going to watch, usually a very old film. Sometimes not. Sometimes we actually go to the movie theater and see it together, but because of this whole pandemic thing, we haven't done that in 3 years, but who knows? Maybe we'll go see Moonfall. Wouldn't that be a great movie to throw our money away on? But at any rate, we're going to be talking about a film. Tonight's film is Beneath the Planet of the Apes. It is the second sequel and the third film in the offering of the original PATA series of, 5 films. So this is number 3. I'm going to give you the synopsis of the plot, and then after that I'll take check-ins. And whether you've seen the movie or not, it doesn't matter. We would like to say you've seen the movie, which would be fine, and you can comment as you see fit. Otherwise, you can talk about the vast and expanding PATA universe. That's the fanboy for Planet of the Apes, PATA. Series and any of that, whatever you think about it, you can, even the rebooted series. So there's plenty to talk about even if you've not seen this film. When we do the check-ins, after that I'll ask you about the plot. What did you think about it? Second, about the acting or the characterization. And then third, what did you think about the special effects? And generally that third round is when we're about pretty much tired out. You can also talk about the music, sound, special effects, lighting, any trivia things. A lot of things can come up in all of that. So here we go. During the events of the preceding film, this is from Wikipedia, by the way, beneath the Planet of the Apes, occurring off-screen, Cornelius and Zira escaped from Earth prior to its destruction when they were accompanied by a fellow chimpanzee. I can't believe it. Dr. Milo, in salvaging and repairing a spaceship originally used by Taylor. I don't know when they had time to do that, but I guess they did. The shockwave of Earth's destruction sent the ship through a time warp. Through the time warp that brings the apes to 1973 Earth, which is, of course, the future. The movie came out in 1971. The apes are transported to a secluded ward of the Los Angeles Zoo under the observations of Drs. Brandon and Dixon. With Milo explaining their situation in private, the apes decide not to let the humans know they can speak while agreeing not to reveal Earth's destruction from the ape war. However, Zira's impatience exposes the ape's power of speech. During an experiment, Dr. Milo is killed moments later by a zoo gorilla who becomes agitated by the Japanese arguing. Lewis tries to communicate with the apes, and he's peaceful, and he wishes to treat them as equals, winning their friendship as a result. A presidential commission is formed to investigate the return of Taylor's spaceship and determine how atypically intelligent apes came to be aborted. The apes are brought before the commission where they publicly reveal their ability to speak. Counsel asks about Taylor, but Cornelius and Zira tell them they know nothing. They reveal that they came from the future and escaped Earth when war broke out. They were welcomed as guests of the government. Cornelius and Zira secretly tell Stephanie and Lewis that they did know Taylor, explain how humans are treated in the ape-dominated future, and about the Earth's destruction. Stephanie and Lewis are shocked, but still sympathetic, and later advising the couple to keep this information secret until they can gauge the potential reaction of their host. The apes become celebrities and are lavished with gifts and media attention and become the attention of the presidential science advisor, Dr. Otto Hussein, who discovers Zira is pregnant. Fearing the future of the human race, he offers champagne, which he has developed a taste to loosen her inhibitions and question her further while recording it. for rapid response enable him to convince the Commission that Cornelius and Zero must be subjected to more rigorous questioning. This is KE5ICX. Haskellane insists that he simply wants to know how the apes became dominant over men. Cornelius reveals the human race will cause its own downfall, become dominated by simians, and the simian aggression against humans will lead to the Earth's destruction by a weapon made by humans. Zero explains the gorillas started the war, the orangutans supported the gorillas, but the chimpanzees had nothing to do with it. The scene suspects the apes are not speaking the whole truth. During an original hearing, Zero accidentally reveals she's dissected humans. Oops! In the course of her work, the same orders Lewis to administer truth serum to her while Cornelius is confined elsewhere. Lewis assures Zero the serum will have the same effect as champagne. As a result of the serum, Hussein learns details about Zero's examination experimentation on humans along with her knowledge of Taylor. Zero joins Cornelius in confinement while Hussein takes his findings to the president, who reluctantly must abide by the council's ruling to have Zero's pregnancy terminated and both apes sterilized. In the chambers, Cornelius labels Hussein and other savages for Zero's treatment, as she reminds Cornelius she did the same thing to humans as Taylor called them savages. Zero is relieved to have revealed the truth because she was tired of lying. Cornelius fears that the truth will get them killed. When an orderly arrives to offer the apes food, his playful reference to their unborn child as a little monkey makes Cornelius lose his temper, and he knocks the orderly to the floor before escaping with Zero. Cornelius assures he's merely knocked out the orderly, but he is actually dead. Hussein uses the tragedy to support his claim that the apes are a threat and calls for their execution, but is ordered by the president to bring them alive, as he will not endorse punishment for the orderly's death, and due process has been served. Almost done. Brandon and Dixon help the apes to escape, taking them to a circus run by Senor Armando, where the ape named Heloise has just given birth. Zero gives birth to a son, whom she names Milo in honor of their deceased friend. Saying knowing that Zero's labor was imminent, orders a search for all circuses and zoos. Armando insists that apes leave for their safety. Lewis arranges for the apes to hide out in a shipyard in Los Angeles Harbor until the coast is clear to return. The circus heads to Florida, giving Cornelius a pistol as the couple does not want to be taken alive. Hussein tracks the apes to the shipping yard and mortally wounds Zero when she refuses to hand over the infant, firing several shots into the infant before being killed by Cornelius. Cornelius is shot by a sniper and falls. Zero tosses the dead baby over the side and crawls to die with her husband, witnessed by the grieving Lewis and Stephanie. As Armando's circus prepares to leave for Florida, it is revealed that Zero switched babies with Heloise prior to leaving the circus and that Armando is aware. Milo then begins to talk. That end. But is it really? Could it actually be the beginning of another sequel? Oh, you betcha. Lots of people in this film who did a lot of television work in the 60s end up in movie roles. William Wyndham, Eric Braeden, Sal Mineo, who played Dr. Milo, although you didn't notice him. Albert Salmi was in it, amongst others. Emmett Walsh in an early, barely credited award movie part. And then Bill Bonds, my hero, I listened to or watched on television for close to 2 decades from Detroit as the TV newscaster. He worked out there for a short time. And then Ricardo Montalban, the final scene was as Armando. All right, I will now take check-ins. If you'd like to join us, please come now with your call sign, phonetically your name, and did you see Escape from the Planet of the Apes? Let's begin.
Kilo Golf 5, Bravo 2, Whiskey. Oops, that guy a fish. Anyway, I saw the film.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima. This is Brenda, and I did see the movie.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike. Tony in Dallas. I am so guilty. I wanted to see the movie, but I did not.
Okay, picked up 3. I got KG5BZWJ. Yep. Your Weatherford, he did see it. WB50ZL, Miss Brenda, she did see the movie. NT5TM, Tony, no, he did not see the movie. Bad Tony, bad Tony. Additional check-ins, please come now.
Zero Tango India, Mike. I have seen the movie, but it's a long time ago.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean in Fort Worth. Yes, I've seen the movie.
Kilo India 5, Kilo Whiskey Golf Cruise, Arlington did not see this movie.
Okay, we picked up 3. The one station, I'm going to turn up my volume a little bit. The station ending in India, could you give me your full call again and your name? And you did say you saw the movie, so I can put that down. Give me your full call again, please.
India, Mike.
Okay, your signal is clipping, so give it a couple of seconds. Just push to talk and then give me your call again. You really are clipping. I barely got anything out of that. Maybe a problem with your mic. I'm not sure. Try again. All right, I'll tell you what. I will come back to you because I've got to go down the list anyway and take a look and see whatever's going on. I think your mic is just not hanging in there. Your signal is fine. It's just that you clip in and out audio-wise. So we'll come back to you. I do recognize KB9SOK. That's Sean. Yep, he saw the movie. KI5KWG over in Arlington. No, you did not see the movie. Could I get your name again? I think you were in here last week, but I can't recall your name.
Yeah, the name is for KI5KWG is Cruz. That's Charlie Romeo Echo Whiskey Sierra.
Excellent. Cruz, CREWS, KIGKWG. I got you checked in. No, you didn't see the movie, but we'll still call on you because I bet you've seen some of the others. All right. Any additional check-ins that would like to come in? We're talking about Escape from the Planet of the Apes. So if you'd like to join us, please come with your call sign, your name, and did you see the movie? All right, I did not invite anybody over on Echolink, so I will do so now. If you're on Echolink and you'd like to join us, please come with your call sign, your name, and did you see Escape from the Planet of the Apes? We'll give you extra time.
India 5, Golf Bravo Tango. I have seen the movie, but I'm just listening. I've got a bad connection here. KI5 GBT.
I got KI5GBT. That's Chris. He did see the movie. You're going to do listen only. If you do want to say anything somewhere down that you want to discuss, then just cut in there and let us know, and we'll let you go ahead. Okay, well, we'll beginning from the top of the list. Jay, KG5VZW, what did you think about the plot for Escape to the Planet of the Apes from KE5ICX?
Well, this is KG5BZW, and if you thought Star Wars was redoing its plot, was one of the first to redo its plot, well, I guess you'd be wrong, because that was kind of it really is kind of a redo of the first film, but it's still an interesting twist, because after all, it's the role reversal, which is the most interesting part of film, and I thought they did a decent job. You got to not really take it that seriously. If you do that, then I think it's fine. I thought the pacing was good. I was actually kind of impressed with this film. I don't know what I was expecting. It was actually better than my expectations. What else to say? I don't know. It's the I'm really trying to figure out what I can say other than what I've said. I can't think of anything. I'm sure being first has put a wrench into my works, but anyway, I'll probably come up with something later. KG5BZW.
All right, very good. Thank you, Jay. I kind of agree with you. WB5OZL, Miss Brenda, your thoughts on the plot for Escape from the Planet of the Apes?
This is WB5OZL. Well, it wasn't any worse than all the other Planet of the Apes movies. Actually, I was engrossed in it, and that's something about the plot where I don't feel like, wish they'd just die already so we could turn this off. But, it didn't have a lot of plot holes. There were just some things that weren't explained, like, why'd they just decide to get in this spaceship and leave? It seemed rather risky to me. Did they know their planet was about to blow up? I don't think so. I mean, how would you know that? I mean, they knew there was a war. But, if I had just escaped my planet and everybody I knew had died, and then one of my best friends died in front of me, I'd probably be grieving and depressed, but they were almost comical in their nonchalance about this. The ending was hard to take. I didn't like that much. And you feel for the little guy, okay, he can talk, but so what? He's one of a kind, alone in the world. Is they going to get him a foster mother? I don't know. He's got to eat. And, you just wonder what kind of future he would have to be, they're going to turn him into a sideshow freak. All right, back to net, WB50ZL.
All right, thank you, Miss Brenda. Next up is NT5TM Tony. No, you did not see Escape to the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes. But do you have any comments on the PATA series? I mean, this thing has been more sequelized than just about anything out there. It's been rebooted, and it's had, 3 or 4 rebooted films. It's had a television series. It had an animated series. It's had a comic book series. You name it, it's been done. So what do you think, Tony? NT5TM from KE5ICX.
Well, Aaron and I actually saw one of the sequels. Calling it pay-per-view sounds really outdated, so I guess, I don't know, we rented it online or something, give $3 to Amazon and let you watch it. And it was kind of disappointing because the effects were really updated, but it lacked something. Which is that the original Planet of the Apes, well, yeah, the prosthetic makeup looks a little stiff and awkward, had great characters, and so that gave a very promising opening. And likewise with the sequel, I feel bad because I've just been so busy, and Aaron has been busy and had some personal issues. We just couldn't watch it. But the things we read about it promised good characters, because that's what a good story is about. Arthur Clarke was a little wrong. He talked about great ideas, but what humans like, because we're human, and we like hearing stories about human, is good characters. And so I think this movie had promise, and I'm just kicking myself, but not very hard, because, sometimes life just gets busy. So I'm listening to what everyone says, but I really am going to try to watch this. And my favorite memory of the original Planet of the Apes was just, the makeup was awkward and stiff, but the characters were so strong. So I'm hoping that if this is a good sequel, I will find the characters in it to be faithful and realistic, no matter what their makeup or hair or wigs or anything look like. If they are true to life and believable and people or apes that we might want to know or hate or love, if they seem real, I'm going to like the movie. NT5TM.
All right, very good. Thank you, Tony. And we'll probably come back to you in a little bit as well. Now, the next station, you were cutting in and out into the repeater. Your call ended in India. If you'd like to try again, hopefully you got your mic fixed. We'll go ahead and take your check-in. And you did say you saw the movie. I did get that part, but I don't have your call or name. So if you want to try again and you end in India as your call, you're the person we would like to hear from. Please try now. All right, well, I may be mistaken on that. I'll take additional check-ins when I get to the bottom of the list. KB9SOK, Sean over in Fort Worth. You saw the movie. What did you think of the plot?
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, I did go back and watch the first 2 movies actually this week, because I haven't seen them in many, many, many years, and I'd forgotten a lot of it, so I kind of wanted to. Obviously, being a sequel, you want to remember what happened early on. I remember the basics, but that was about it. After watching the first 2, then watching this one, I have to say I was a little bit disappointed with this one. I still think the first one was the strongest, at least out of the first 3. This one, there seemed to be, put aside the whole, Planet of the Apes thing, and to me it seemed that the plot was a little thin on this one. Obviously, how did they repair the rocket? How did they get fuel? How did they actually get it back in space? That's the whole plot of getting them back in time seemed a little bit really far-fetched. But I realized I had to take the series someplace, because after all, they blew up the Earth in the second one, so I guess you got to figure something out. But then, then when they get back, then at first, it seems like they were surprised by how they were being treated. But yet later in the film, they admitted that's how they treated the humans. So that seemed a little off, it just, I don't know, it just seemed weird and awkward. It just didn't seem right. Eventually admitting that, they'd done the same thing and trying to come to, to agree with it. But it just seemed like, I don't know, the characters just seemed off. The husband claimed that, he was nonviolent, but yet he seemed to be very violent, killing the orderly, which I know was supposed to have been an accident. And then it's just, you know, the whole, I don't know, something just bothered me with this one. It just didn't seem to me flow and make a lot of sense. It's just, I don't know, it's just, I couldn't put my finger on it, but just something felt, you know, not as fluid as the first two. And yeah, their attitude, the comical part, just didn't seem to really fit either. And it just, yeah, it was supposed to be kind of a reversal of the first film, but I don't know, this one was just, there were several, I should have took notes, there were some little things that were off about the whole thing I was thinking as I was watching it, things that just wouldn't make sense. And then, you know, and probably the biggest thing I thought was just totally dumb, which I know they had to have a bad guy, but, you know, the advisor to the president, which should be relatively an intelligent individual, typically, you know, I wouldn't believe that he would act like that, you know. Would he really go to that drastic of an extreme to think that this was going to be the end of mankind 2,000 years down the road, this one baby? And then, yeah, just that part was, I think, was the worst part. That was just strange. And so, yeah, I mean, it was okay. I mean, I did want to see what happened to him. I wasn't happy with the ending, but I guess it is what it is. Back to net control. KB9, that's okay.
All right, Sean, good observations. I'll save my comments towards the end. KI5KWG, that's Cruz over in Arlington. Cruz, you may have seen some of that. You said you did not see this particular film, but do you have anything you want to say about the Pata films in general, or even the idea or the premise? Or even comment on the plot that you heard at the beginning of the thing. I leave it to you, sir. Your comments from KE5ICX.
Okay, I'm not saying don't really have anything to add to this. I'm just enjoying listening to this.
All right, no problem. I'll just put you on listen only. Again, if you have anything you want to say, we have an open round at the end, so if you have anything, we'll take check-ins again, or anybody has any final comments. That's how it works, no problem. Chris, KI5GBD, he says he's listen only, that's okay. And then we also have Otis. He is NA6XR. He's over on the stream. I gave him the information for Echolink if he wanted to, but he says one of his favorite movies. And let's see. The original Planet of the Apes movies he liked, and Soylent Green, one of his favorite types. By the way, I think Soylent Green is this year, 2022. So you may want to go back and watch it and see if how far we've come. Yes, Soylent Green's 2022. Okay, anyone else like to check in? Please come now with your call sign. Phonetically, please, your name, and did you see Escape from the Planet of the Apes, or you just want to make a comment or be known that you're there? Please come now.
Kilo. Juliet is coming in.
It's in the theaters, and I'm just listening.
Oh, and I have, I remember of it, but I don't have much to comment on it, so I'm just listening tonight. This is Kilo Golf 5, Alpha Hotel Juliet.
All right, there was a double. That's encouraging. The one who won was KG5AHJ. Could I get your name? Roger, you did not see the movie, and you were listening only, but that's okay. What is your name, sir?
Sorry for the double. Name here is Frank.
All right, Drake, I have you checked in. Now, there was another station that checked in. You were obliterated. Give me your call again and your name, and did you see Escape from the Planet of the Apes?
This is Whiskey 7 Kilo Yankee Golf. Calvin, I saw it when it was in theater, and I'm just listening to try to remember.
I should have recognized your voice. Okay, Calvin, I've got you down as listen only. Now, guys, you can make comments. It's okay. We generally generally do, even if we haven't seen the movies. Or there's always the possibility of saying, boy, I'm glad I didn't see that movie. That's always appreciated, too, when others have done the hard work for you. All right, my comments on the film. I actually rather like this film. I know it was inexpensive, and in fact, that's what they talk about from the critical part of it, which was interesting. They said it was positive, quite beautiful in the theme of human guilt, richly ambivalent because the monsters are scarcely monstrous, and the guilt is a function of unassailable strategic intelligence. So it does, it has sort of a feel from the original film in the sense that the roles are reversed now, more traditional in the sense that, you know, I mean, we talk about doing medical research on animals, and of course the big outrageous thing is that we have that going on in Planet of the Apes, and it's a rather disturbing thing to see the first time you see this film. Now you're thinking about it, and the humans are the bad guys, and yet they're making the apes out as terrible. Hey, you can't do that. We're the ones that can only do that. Not thinking that, you know, that live and let live may be the answer, and the answer to these problems is to get rid of the apes before they get rid of us. Well, okay. I think that helps it in the sense that it gives that sense of irony, which good science fiction always does. It provides you with a good baseline for what's going on and maybe an objective or kind of oblique look at what's going on, which is what the Planet of the Apes movies were all about, especially the first story, which really brings it to fore. And they bring home this same theme that in this particular film, which I thought worked out well. Let's see, other things about the plot. Let me think for a second. I do see in the notes that the director of this film actually went to, I'll think of his name, Pierre Boulez. I think Pierre Boulez was the one who wrote the book, and then the original book, he sought his opinion of doing a sequel, and got his, I guess, his approval on it, using a lot of the humor and some of the sarcasm and sort of the irony that goes along with it. And that's definitely felt in this film. Let's see. I guess that's enough for me for now. Let me look over on Echolink. NA6XR. He's out there. He is checked in. Otis, do you want to go ahead and check in and give us your feelings on the film? NA6XR over on Echolink. Come on aboard.
NA6XR, Hollywood, California. And hello to everybody in Dallas. Yeah, the thing was, like I stated before, and what you stated, you know, all it was basically a mirror on the projected endgame, so to speak, where society was heading. And the other movie that kind of worried me was that movie Soylent Green. NA6XR, back to net control.
Short and sweet. Thank you, Otis. We'll be back to you in a little bit. We'll talk about the characterization, which I think is kind of a juicy part. I like the characterizations in this film. So we will start at the top of the list. We were talking about Escape from the Planet of the Apes, the second sequel in the, I think, 5-movie series, the original series of Planet of the Apes. So that's the one where they travel back in time and they end up in Southern California. Cornelius and Zero. So now we'll talk about characterization and maybe the acting that goes along with it. So Jay, KG5BZW, what did you think of the characterization on this film?
Alright, this is KG5BZW. Alright, so it's going to say I'm okay here as far as how y'all are receiving me. What can I say? We've got Cornelius and Zero, which we know from the first film. Can't really say, they kind of continue that have already addressed the issue of you know, the nonchalant, I'm making up words here, attitude of them towards Marlowe's death, but it's like the best and worst character at the same time is Dr. Otto Hasselin, or Hasselin. He got this very, I mean, what can I say? He has some pretty good lines. Actually, the almost pseudoscience maybe is kind of pseudoscience the way it's. In fact, this is the whole thing about how Dr. Hasselin explained how they travel back in time. Actually, that doesn't make any sense, but it's still so an infinite regression that it's so memorable. In fact, I know of a musician goes by the name of Quantix, who made a little song about it. And I've always been wondering where that came from, but it was from this. Some of my musicians I listen to actually have great parts from the past, like Wax Killer. And this is not talking about musicians. Actually, let me reset. So, the Emperor, it's just a cool little bit that he talks about, and, you know, it's just interesting enough to, you know, talk about possibly, parallel universes and all of that. It's like, it could be a possible introduction to it, and it's like it almost makes sense in a weird, kind of way. If they could have gone just a little bit further into it, but in other words, anyway. At the same time, you know, this supposedly logical guy and science advisor to the president doesn't seem to have the really most. His concern should be now, you know. I mean, they try to play up his concern for the future, which, you know, in the near future, yeah, but I don't know, 2,000 years in the future, it's not really played up that well. And of course, they had to make him some sort of, you know, they literally explain what characters they're drawing from King Herod from you know, Christian books, but yeah, it's, you know, you take it as you want it. So there's that. Hold on. I did like Bradford Dillman and Natalie Trundy as the doctors that were the kind of interface between humanity and the apes. But was there really anything that interesting about them? I don't know. They were just seemed to be intelligent enough to know when to get out of the way, which is actually kind of a good thing, because so many times the characters just don't know when to get out of the way, and so I did like that aspect about him. I like the president as well. Probably the most intelligent president ever depicted in movies, because, I mean, I don't know that any president, past or present, would be so, I don't know the adjective to describe him, just even-headed, let's just say that. And, you know, we've had good presidents as well. Used to that. What else? You know, I'm not sure if there's anything else I can really think of right at the moment. And I have rambled on a bit So I'll hand it to the next person. This is KQ5, BZW. Back to net.
Thank you, Jay. Next up is Brenda, WB50ZL. What did you think of characterization and the acting in Escape from the Planet of the Apes from KE5ICX?
This is WB50ZL. Well, the apes were kind of locked into their characters based on the history of the series. But a lot of the most of the humans were fairly stereotypical, and let's show what's wrong with humans and what brutes they are, etc. And they just willing to cold-bloodedly kill the. They wanted to kill the baby ape, and they weren't very. Most of them weren't very sympathetic to the apes, which I think is a little surprising. You'd think that they would relate to them a little better. I found it kind of amusing that Kira was sort of triumphant when she showed her intellect by solving a shape sorter. That's like, my kids had a shape sorter when they were like 1 and 2. That isn't exactly a indication of great intelligence, but they made a big deal out of it. I didn't understand the drinking part. Somebody should have told her you don't drink when you're pregnant. That was pretty irresponsible. I guess they don't have liquor on where she comes from. I don't think that was ever brought up in any of the movies, but I might be wrong. It seems to me like they've improved the ape faces over the first 2 movies. They seem to be a lot more articulated and a lot more expressive. The original movie, I think they were kind of sort of just mask-like and not face-like. But that was just my perception. Maybe somebody else knows something about that. All right, back to net, WB50ZL.
All right, thank you, Brenda. I'll save comments on the pickup. All right, next, Tony, I'm going to pick on you again. NT5TM, I don't know if you're still there or not, but if you are, any additional comments? I don't know, whatever you want. Characterization, I guess. I know you didn't see the movie, but what do you think about apes movies?
Well, I agree with Brenda's closing remarks there, that in the very first movie, I thought that the facial prosthetics were very rigid, unkeyed there, and very mask-like, and I sure hope they got better as technology advanced, but I have to reserve judgment because I haven't seen this movie. I was actually just kind of, petting the dog here and wondering if apes of a different species, because we're great apes too, would have to employ little wolves to guard their camp at night the way Aaron and I have to, because we sleep pretty soundly, and we have to have this little wolf who wakes up if a cat tries to get in the house. And that's kind of sarcastic, but or humorous, but it's actually kind of real. I wonder if just as Homo sapiens have to employ domestic animals to help keep us safe and well-fed, if some other species, Pan-troglodytes or whatnot, would have to employ domestic animals as well, and that could sure complicate characterization if, just as we have domestic animals, if they had to too, and perhaps find that similarity. But, I don't know, didn't see it, but, these comments sure keep me interested. I'm going to watch the movie. just haven't yet. NT5TM.
Okay, very good, Tony. And, yeah, well, you know, one of the things, I actually watched the TV series that came out in 1970. Actually, it was 1974 is when it came out. It showed on ABC for one season, and then they cut it out. I think that's what it was. And they emphasized that, you know, the humans were pets type of thing because they were on the planet Apes, as in the planet of the apes, or the planet of the humans. And that was brought up. Now, in the movie, the original movie, of course, they had horses. They had domesticated horses or had inherited them from the devolving humans, I guess. And I don't recall anything else as far as animals, except that people were kind of treated like domesticated, so whatever. Interesting comments, though. Let's see. Next up, KB9SOK. Sean, what did you think of characterization for this film from KE5ICX?
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Just kind of, you know, once again, it just, you know, obviously the husband and wife that came through time, it just seemed like they didn't really 100% follow where they left off, you know, in the second movie as far as, you know, how they were acting. It just seems like maybe it's almost like this was written by a different person. So it seemed a little off to me on that. Once again, I felt that you know, if you kind of think if something like this really did happen, obviously, you know, first of all, I'd be surprised if the government had been so public about it. But if they were, yeah, I think people would obviously be very fascinated by it and would be, you know, interested in these two apes and you know, how they developed. And I think the scientific community would be extremely interested, and it'd be more like the you know, the two that originally, you know, that was testing them, that, you know, obviously they thought that was a good thing, and, you know, and wanted to learn all they could. After all, we're very curious as humans. So I would be surprised once again, you know, like I said, I was very surprised by, you know, once again, I know we had to have a bad guy, but it just seemed it was over the top that the president's advisor just, you know, would be that. And the president would go along with it so willingly to, you know, be okay with killing off this baby. Once again, it's just one child. And, you know, obviously it would be under extreme scrutiny and watched as it grew. So it's not like it's, you know, it's going to have that ability to train other apes to be like it. But so yeah, I think that was the worst part for me, was just the, you know, the advisor. You know, I felt the other characters were, you know, a lot more realistic, more, you know, how they would really act, I would think. In that situation, I think the acting was okay. It was decent. You know, so not a lot really to add to this conversation. And but anyway, it's like I said, it was okay, but I still think the original was better. But back to net, this was KB9SOK.
All right, thank you, Sean. Let's see here. I got listen only. Let's go to Otis, NA6XR. Otis, I know it's been a while since you've seen the film, but what did you think of the characterization, the acting, and all that? In fact, this section is when we talk about the people in the film. So if you got something for us, please go ahead. NA6XR from KE5ICX.
NA6XR. As far as the characters, in my opinion, they were fitting. They kind of resembled some of the individuals I ran across as far as my mentors, teaching me different things that I do in the industry I work in. And the really crazy thing about it, it does seem so plausible in varying degrees. NA6XR.
All right, thank you, Otis. Let's see here. in. I got listen only for others, but I don't have that written down now. Do you have any comments you would like to make about the PATA movies or what we're talking about tonight? Go ahead from KE5ICX. Okay, he may have retired for the evening. Okay, next, well, my comment, I'll make a couple of comments about it. First off, Cornelius and Zira, I have to say, those are popular characters. Roddy McDowall nailed it, so did Kim Hunter in the original movie, and I think they just extended what they did in that film into this one. I think they had a lot to say. The second film, they didn't have much, let's face it. They were just kind of not really in it. And then they make this appearance in this film. And Kim Hunter had to be talked into it, but she decided after she saw the script, and the fact that she was central to the story, one of the lead characters again, I think she liked it. Roddy McDowall, I don't know, he just seems very natural playing this role. I've seen him in a number of different things, and I think one thing about Roddy McDowall is he's always been typecast, and now he's been typecast as an ape, I guess, or a chimpanzee. But I've seen him in some other things, and he's quite talented. Of course, he's passed on now, but he's quite talented, and he never really got a lot of different range of characters, which is a shame, because he can play some really nasty bad guys in films. Just take a look and watch him as the devil in, of all things, what was that, Fantasy Island. He actually played a very dark character more than once in that. He did an excellent job. If you ever get a chance, watch it. It's about the only time I ever thought that Fantasy Island was any good was when Roddy McDowall was in it. Eric Braeden, who played Otto Hussein, he's the bad guy in this. He's the one that's going to kill them. Well, we have to kill off our characters anyway, and the young Milo, the baby Milo, has to exist to make the whole time thing work, since that's all a part of it. Which brings me up on the time thing. Let me reset. When we had the scientist trying to explain to Bill Bonds, the newscaster, what he meant was, I think the line, I know the repeating thing, and the painter painting the painter, painting the painter, painting the painter. His comment was in that eventually the painter becomes part of the original landscape, and that's the secret, I think, to what they're trying to explain. Not that time travel makes any sense, even though we've never ever experienced it, except forward in real time. And that is that eventually the whole looping process is the natural process, so it had to happen. It's predetermined because that's the way it is, even though it didn't exist originally. So somehow or another, which would be an interesting study, I think, if you were to do the story, how did this come about without them returning? How did that connection make the very first time of the loop, when we know now that probably this was not the first time? It may have been one of dozens of hundreds or millions or zillions of loops. Always part of that wonderful time travel looping causality thing, what originally causes it. But they also mentioned, now that I think about it, he also mentions changing lanes, that suddenly the time is changed because they're on a million road highway, and that all you have to do is change lanes and change the future too. So that's kind of interesting. So another thing that was interesting, and this came up in the comments section of the wiki, and that is that Roddy McDowall and Kim Hunter, playing Cornelius and Zira, felt isolated, even though they were working on the movie and they were major characters through the whole thing, because they were the only ones in ape makeup, with the exception of Milo, and his early demise in the film. There's the two of them and the rest of the film. They felt isolated because nobody would talk to them. And I thought about that, and I've mentioned this before, when you play a bad guy, for example, which I did on stage for a show many years ago, and I killed 2 people in the play. you don't get people coming and talking to you. They leave you alone because somehow or another it projects the possibility that, and in my case it was the heavy in that, you are that character. You're not. The other part of this, of course, is potentially the fact that they're playing chimpanzees. They're not humans. What are they? There's sort of a prejudice going on there, or a distancing. That, I think, is very interesting. And I'm sure there's been, JJ, N5IMS had mentioned that there was a behind the scenes, behind the Planet of the Apes, and I'll bet you it's mentioned in that. I'll have to go and look. I have the DVD set, and I think that bonus disc is in there. I'm going to pull it out and watch it, because it might explain some of the things that happened in this movie when it came to the two of them being isolated. I could see the president acting the way he is. He wants to play it cautiously. He doesn't want to go and overplay his hand, being the politician that any president would have to be, or any politician being a politician has to be. The public is, and perceptions can be everything. And so his reluctance to do something when there's no crime that's been committed, and then he decides to appoint a commission. Well, how many presidents have ducked out appointing commissions to look at something, and then they get out of office so they don't have to deal with it? So that's a common thing. And I could see that happening with Wyndham playing the president, and that would be one of the things that would occur. Braden has seen, or whatever his name was, the doctor that wants to kill them. He sees the future as very threatening to him, and that he is now he's the all-American boy, even though he's German. He's going to go in and he's going to stop this thing from happening. That the future has been laid, and he's heard it. He's interrogated them. He's listened to what they've said. He's heard the slip-ups. He works as an aide to the president. He provides information to the president, and he's decided this is a bad idea. The president doesn't come through, so he takes the law into his own hands because of the extraordinary circumstances. I don't know if that's so far-fetched or not. I would think, though, that he would probably enlist a bunch of his buddies to help him out, which was done in another movie. I think it was Brainstorm or something, where we had the assistant to the president going to the nth degree. So I don't know. When you get people who are like a chief of staff and that have close access to the president, the Braden, the Hasleen character, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, might not have been so over the top. He could have enlisted others to make that happen. All right, that's enough for me. Let's go to the top of the list. We're going to talk about special effects or anything you want about the movie. Bring it on. So we'll start with Jay, KG5BZW. Jay, what do you want to add about the film? Special effects or otherwise? Go right ahead. KE5ICX. Oh, by the way, we're talking about Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
This is KG5BZW. Okay, sorry, I wanted to make sure the signal was still good. Okay, well, there's two things I wanted to bring up. First of all, I have to apologize. I don't know that you talked about, but I got distracted, and it's like related to my second point. I'll tell you in a moment. But the first point I wanted to say, the makeup certainly did improve between Planet of the Apes and this Escape from the Planet of the Apes. I could have sworn I've seen some documentaries about just makeup and stuff, explaining how they improved it. But one thing that the IMDb seems to, granted, IMDb is still made by volunteers, but somebody pointed out that the makeup for the original Planet of the Apes took about 4.5 hours to apply. It went down to about an hour and a half, and in application. So yeah, there's definitely some improvements there, and I want to say there was a lot of others, and you can see there's some documentaries on YouTube and stuff. I could have sworn I've seen like 20 years ago or something when they were often on one of those cable channels. They always like to show Planet of the Apes around with some holiday. They like to do that and had the documentary about it. And I remember it being very interesting, but I don't remember all the details. But yeah, your eyes aren't lying. There was definitely some improvements there. Okay, point 2. I have to admit, that first scene, it was a bit of a turnoff. It was so cheesy with the there's, in the 60s and 70s, helicopter technology certainly drastically improved, and there was quite a number of military helicopters in use. But you saw these little commercial Bell helicopters being fly around. I think they were Bell. I'm no helicopter expert, and it's like that's not what the military would use. You know, get me some, like maybe a Huey or a 2 or something, but obviously their budget or something wouldn't allow for that. Yeah, I really kind of hated that. They tried. It's like they tried their darndest to make it look military, but you knew that's not how they would do it. It was just so kind of pathetic. Oh well, there was other stuff that improved. And even the spaceship was just a little bit. I don't know. I guess at least you got a shot where they actually got inside of something. I don't know how many ships they had or anything, but it didn't quite seem to have the level of detail it needed there. But yeah, I really wish they could have done a little bit better job on that. But I'm sure they could have easily blown their budget based on actual military vehicle use. However, they would have been able to achieve that. I don't know, but anyway. That's the only 2 things I really want to say. KG5BW, back to net.
Alright, thank you, Jay. Yeah, I noticed that too. I always do whenever the helicopters are brought in, and they're not quite military-like. A Huey would have probably been UH-1 would be what you'd want to see, but no, you don't get that. I forget what it was, Jet Ranger or something. But then you get to look at all the military stuff that they had, the half track, I don't know, whatever the military thing was, Jeeps, of course, plenty of those. But you could get all those secondhand if you needed to. But I think they probably really did go to like. I didn't check the credits at the end. Oh, you know what? They really didn't have a lot in the way of credits now I think about it, as to the help from, which is surprising because at that point in the industry they were putting everybody in there, including who catered the films, catered the cast for food and things like that. But, oh well, anyway, I digress. All right, next up is Brenda, WB50ZL. What do you want to talk about, Brenda? Anything you want, technical or otherwise. Go ahead. KE5ICX.
This is WB50ZL. There wasn't a whole lot of technical in this. Although, what they had was okay. I did like the helicopters. I always liked the flying things in movies, you know that. Let's see, technical. One of the problems I have with the science is the idea that humans would lose their voice. I mean, is their larynx missing? Or the part of their brain that speaks is gone. I understand apes learning to talk. That that would make sense. But how humans would learn the ability to speak at this, concurrently, this seems a little far-fetched to me. And they never went into the physiology of that, how it is that, we have apes now, they don't talk, they can't talk, and it's not because of their brain, it's because of their larynx. And speech is one of the things that made us what we are, humans. Without it, we wouldn't have evolved at all. I like Tony's comment about the pets. Humans wouldn't be human without dogs. There's no question about that. There's been a lot written about that. That they kept us safe and helped us evolve. So, the idea that an illness would take all the dogs and cats from us is a horrible idea. And not particularly believable at the same time. So, I'm not sure that apes would be a good, or chimpanzees would be a good substitute for dogs and cats. And they kept confusing chimpanzees and apes and gorillas and all that. Science-wise, that was kind of clumsy. All right, I'm going to give it up. WB5OZL.
All right, thank you, Brenda, and thanks for your comments. And KB9SOK, Sean, your comments, technical, anything about the movie you would like to say, or the series from KE5I6.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, as everybody's mentioned, not a lot there in the special effects. Obviously, the focus on the chimpanzees suits is probably, where they spent most of it. Yes, I do think they did look better this time around. Not that they were absolutely horrible before, when you consider when it was made. And it was kind of interesting watching the first two again, because one of the nice things about the HD upgrades is obviously it looks nicer, and but then there's a downside of these HD renovations. It brings out those little things like the stiffness of the suit, and when the movie was originally made, they easily kind of cover that up because, quite honestly, the image just wasn't as sharp. And I've seen where they've talked about this before, that typically in the years past that they have to over-exaggerate makeup and stuff to make up for the lack of clarity. And sometimes when these movies get upgraded, they don't clean that up as well as they should. So yeah, and then watching the first one again, yeah, it did look a little off. This did look better. It did look more natural. So that so they did get some development there. Yeah, I agree. The military comments that were made, the music was pretty typical. What you'd expect. Now, for some reason, maybe it's just the copy I was watching. It seems like anytime the music came on, it was like 3 times the volume of when they were talking. So I found myself running the volume up and down. But it was typical, so it was okay. It fit the scenes. Yeah, I like the pet comments. Those were, agree with all that. And yeah, all in all, okay. And looking forward to the next one. Back to net control. This is KB9SOK.
Okay, thank you, Sean. And I've got some comments on your comments coming up here in a moment. Let's see. Next up, NA6XR. Otis, do you have anything you want to bring on anything about the movie? I know it's been a while since you've seen it, but special effects or otherwise, got any comments? Go right ahead from KE5ICX.
No, I mean, as far as what everybody is saying, they're close to being right dead on. I mean, it's obvious that your audience was definitely paying attention to that movie. Yeah, I didn't even know that even having a net tonight, and I kind of fumbled around. And I was looking for something, and then you guys popped up. I'll see you guys next week. NA6XR.
All right, Otis. Well, I appreciate the fact that you checked in tonight. By the way, I'll let you know now in case you drop off, and others do too, because it is here in Dallas. It's almost midnight. It's 20 minutes to 12, so people disappear. But just to remind everyone, you can go to Afterglow Movie. That's 2 words, Afterglow and Movie, over on Facebook, and you can find out what the next movies are there. I, of course, will tell you. That you can find any suggestions in that, or just send an email to me, KE5ICX, Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray at yahoo.com, and I will send you the links to the latest movie that people that will be watching the coming week. And I always take suggestions, but if I don't get any, I just pick something from the list. So by all means, send me your suggestions. I try and get films that are available for free online, sometimes with ads, sometimes just available through the various streaming services. Internet Movie Database is one, YouTube is another, even some of the other Vimeo, I forget. There's other ones out there. Crackle's another. Whatever's out there usually has ads in them, and so I try and pick those still. Now, some of my comments along the way here. Did I get everybody? Hold on. Yeah, I think I did. Okay. A couple of things that I thought were interesting about the film that I thought about and I forgot to mention. When it opens, you see the seashore there, and I think that's the same spot as where they filmed the final scene from Planet of the Apes. If it wasn't, of course, it was an homage to that. I mean, the great reveal and the Statue of Liberty and that, obviously on the other coast, but they don't know that. But it's where it was filmed, was on a beach in California somewhere for that final scene. But we don't need to know that. I still think it's the same spot. I like the idea of that. It was also the opening scene for Beneath the Planet of the Apes. So we're expecting something along the lines of, we're back in the ape world, but then the helicopter comes over and we realize, this is different. And I thought that was a pretty good, cool thing to think that you were doing the Planet of the Apes, but in reality we're in the present time. Let's see. Also, love music. Jerry Goldsmith, who did sort of an atonal score in the original Planet of the Apes. It was nothing that you could dance to, obviously. In this case, he did kind of a curious wink and nod music that's one of his many styles that he did, but this one worked quite well, and I like the music quite a bit. So Jerry Goldsmith is my favorite composer of motion picture music. He always did great. Another comment, there was mention about the vocals and all that with the apes and being able to speak. In the book, first off, Rod Serling did the screenplay for the original film, and he created his typical Twilight Zone twist ending, which they were on Earth all along, as the song goes from the Simpsons. In the book, that was not true. They were on another planet, and the astronauts didn't speak because they didn't know the language of the simians. And I think along the way, I'm trying to remember, it's junior high since I read the book, but I think that they didn't speak for fear that they would be hurt, but they did speak eventually in order to save themselves. They spoke in the simian language to stop them from doing whatever it was they were going to do next, which I think was like a lobotomy. So it ends with Nova and Taylor going off into the wilderness, never to be seen again, and that was the end of the book. I think that that was it. That's all I had on all of the different parts of the movie. Okay, let me do this. Let me ask if anybody has any comments, additional comments, anything they forgot and would like to talk about. Just come with your call sign and we'll go in order. Please come out.
November Tango 5, Tango Bite.
Tony, I'm sorry I skipped over you the last time. I didn't get you. I thought maybe you had turned in for the evening, so by all means, go ahead. NT5TM from KE5ICX.
Well, that's really okay. I was hoping I was going to be one of 6 or 7 here in this round. I just wanted to thank you for staying up and being net control. And you know, this is a very interesting series, and I'm definitely going to watch the movie. I'm just sad I didn't have time to do it this weekend. NT5TM, intrigued by the whole Planet of the Apes franchise.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. And you're not alone. I think one of the most amazing things is that the volume of work and the fascination with this has started as a single movie and just ended when it was, I don't know if it was a best-selling book, but I think it was in France. But the thing is that it's very intriguing. People find it fascinating, and I do too. I don't know what it is, the attraction. Maybe it's the whole idea of being supplanted as top of the food chain or something, and some of the moral turpitude, the things that they do and explain, and what is always a hallmark of science fiction is looking at something from the outside in or the inside out and realizing that the enemy is us. And this series really did a nice job with it. Good enough that they went and they rebooted the thing, and the movies have done very well. And it's worked in other genres as well, television and comics and all of that. Just continues to go on and on. And here we are, 50 years, 55 years since the original movie, and it continues to, 55 years or more since the original movie, and it continues to enthrall us and fascinate us. All right, let me see here. I'm looking to see what next week's movie is. Please stand by. Oh, you're going to love this one. Are you ready for something crazy and different and probably sexist? Barbarella from 1968 will be next week's movie. Barbarella. Yes, it's on YouTube or something. So I found it there, and what the heck? We'll see what happens. All right, that's next week. I told you how to find the information. And we'll see you then. Does anybody have any final comments? Maybe I should do that again. Anybody have any final comments in case I missed something? Please come with your call. Okay, everyone had their say this evening. I'm going to say thank you for tuning in and bringing your comments to the net. We'll see you next week. Next week's movie, Barbarella from 1968. This is KE5ICX. I'm clear. 7-3. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you again. Sleep long and prosper. NT5TM. I'm going to bed.